episode 32, Gav.
32, mate.
Here we go, man. We'll bring a guest in. Let him in. He's chatting
Let
at
him
the
in.
door. He's chatting at
Chatting
the
at the
door. Let him in.
Here he
I'm
comes.
buzzing for this, by the way. Buzzing for this.
I know. We've got
International known star.
Yes,
Here he is,
ready.
man.
There he is.
Yeah. How we doing?
Hi lads,
How's it going, mate? All right?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. All good, mate.
Aye.
All good. Got the Guinness at the ready and everything.
I had to do it.
I've got a Guinness, but I just copied. I've copied something that you've done. But so once you've all kind of settled, I'll pour mine. Just in the distance here, so that
If you fuck it up, it's all right.
Aye, exactly. If I
Are
fuck
you?
Up, then
Is one of you moving the camera, or is what's the? Are you flicking in between onto whoever's talking, or am I imagining things here?
No, it's, see if you go to the top right and there's something that says like gallery view. If you hit that, it'll go to speaker view and you'll be able to see everybody.
I can see everyone, but I feel like Zoom has upped its game, and it's like when whoever's talking pops up on my screen, which is perfect.
I've updated it, but I've not done it. I'm too lazy, man.
If that's what you prefer, mate, it's all good. Good,
yeah,
but,
I can see everyone, and then there's one on the big screen. But yeah, how are you lads? What's up?
Smashing, mate. Absolutely smashing. Thanks for coming on.
Aye, absolutely fantastic, man.
So just before we'll introduce you, obviously, Dara, but just before we do so, we're just wanting to do a wee bit of housekeeping to everybody who's been subscribing.
Whilst you do the housekeeping, I'll pull mine then, right? That's a good idea, isn't it?
Remember, let it settle, mate. I've watched his YouTube video. I know how to do it. So
I'll have to get him up on the main screen for this. Okay, I have all of us here. We're good to go.
Smashing. So thanks everybody for subscribing, liking, following, sharing. Really means a lot. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Spheres McDonald's Hodge Media. So big thanks to Steve again. We've got some new content coming. So Steve's been the mastermind behind that. So thanks very much. And yes, feel free to go on. Steve, as we've mentioned previously, he restores photos, he does videos, promo videos, and he also does weddings, special events, etc., etc. So big thanks to Steve at Spheres McDonald Hodge Media. So episode 32 of the podcast, we've got Dara Curran. I've said that right, Dara, eh?
You've nailed it, mate. It's a strong old accent you boys have, so you've done all right.
Just let me know if you want me to repeat anything, mate, because...
No, I can tell already. I was watching your last podcast and it was just the two of you boys. I can tell already you're slowing down your words for me.
All right, maybe that's subconscious.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely understand it. I was watching the last one and I was like, I'm gonna fucking struggle with these boys.
Well, it's been all right so far. Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know Dara, Dara is the Guinness guru, straight out of Ireland. So first of all, mate, whereabouts in Ireland is it you're from? Is it Dublin?
Just outside of Dublin. So you can pretty much say Dublin. County Meath, Ashburn, County Meath, little town, about 20 minutes from Dublin city centre. So yeah, you can pretty much say Dublin.
Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, I've been here all my life. My mother was from south of Ireland, dad's from Dublin. But yeah, I've been in this town for all 27 years of my life. Yeah.
Well, it's worked well for you, mate. So,
hold on.
Here he is.
He's
taking his time. I thought he was going for a shite.
I have made an absolute pure hash of this, man. Are you ready? You going to see it?
Did you not? Would you not have shown us you pouring it, or what are we going to see here?
You going to see? Look.
What the fuck is that?
Blue Wicked.
Why is it
Blue Wicked, man?
Definitely Blue
Wicked.
Oh, right. Have you done the things?
Right. Spot that a mile away. Guinness and Blue Wicked in a beer and Moretti glass.
Listen,
it's a sin.
I'm no posh. I'm not a posh guy.
But to be fair, the Guinness and Blue Wicked was a sin in the first place. So whatever else you do doesn't really matter.
So there we go, man. The sacrilege is very much, it's here and it's
good effort. I'll give you a 6 out of 10 on presentation.
I would. Thank you, man. Right, let's see you pour it, Dara. Let's see how it's done. Let's see
how's it done,
the guru of the Guinness.
Well, this is the funny thing. There's fuck all to it, lads. It's all bollocks.
Fuck up.
It's all just to make as many different videos as possible pouring it, but very, very basics of it is. This is more to do with if you were in a pub. but we still do it with the can just to feel like we're in a pub. I could just lump this in and pour it anyway, and it'll turn out fine. But that's not what they want you to know. So 45-degree angle. Here we go. That's actually coming out pretty good. Sometimes these cans, if you drink enough of them, you could pour it and there could be no head. It could be all over the place. You never know. I've gotten a good one here, thankfully. I did an Instagram live once with an absolute shocker of a can, and it was a fucking disaster. Now I could pour it all in one, but I'll do it like the pubs, and I'll leave it like that about 30 seconds, and then I'll pour it to the top. I'll tilt my screen a bit so you can see.
Proper pint can as well, eh?
Proper.
So is that just so you allow it to settle, everything to come up?
Yeah, but like you don't actually need to do that with the cans. It's all bollocks.
That is telling us, man.
In a pub, if you poured it all in one, you'd be shot. But with a can, like it doesn't matter, right? That's 30 seconds. This is actually going to turn out to be a really good one. And I've got my custom-made Guinness Guru glass from the Guinness storehouse. I was there about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You can actually see. Oh, you can't even see it. Can you see there? It says Guru. Not really.
Nah, I can't see it. Oh, so it's a specialised
I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you.
I just got Guru written on it. I didn't know whether I should get Guinness Guru written on it or Guru, but thankfully I just got Guru because if I got Guinness Guru written on it, it would have said Guinness Guru. So I've nailed it.
Absolutely crushed it, man.
Yeah, are we having a sip or what?
We'll have a sip. I'm absolutely buzzing to try this.
Cheers, lads, as we say here.
Cheers, man. So
average, not a real pint, but it's okay.
See the way you drink a pint.
That's very nice, by the way. I know obviously nobody's going to be happy, but no, definitely.
No, that's probably one of the best ones I've done.
You've done quite a few.
Brew, but I don't really like High Brew, man. I know I'm from Scotland, from Glasgow, but
no, we don't stereotype around here.
No.
See the way you drink a pint as well. I've noticed that you'll take about 3 or 4 big gulps.
Yeah.
What's the reason behind that? Is that just the way you like to drink a pint?
Like most lads who would gulp a good few pints in a session would tell you that a pint of Guinness, even if it's the best pub in Ireland, a pint of Guinness will go bad after, I would say, even 10, 12 minutes. Oh, so really? I would be drinking it. I would aim to drink it in less than 10 minutes. And I don't mind if my mate's drinking beer, I don't mind if he takes 20 minutes. And I'd rather sit there with an empty glass for 10 minutes than sip it for 20 and half of it be melody. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'd have 3 or 4 good gulps. And as well, just because it's so nice that I'm just like, oh, that's fucking quality. And it doesn't have that fizz to it that if you're drinking a pint of beer, after 2 gulps, you're like, oh, Jesus. Whereas Guinness is just creamy, there's no fizz. You could nearly down the whole thing if you wanted, smooth. Yeah, exactly.
One thing I noticed
hold on. Oh, Gav, I was talking as well. I have opened a lot of cans of beer, so many cans of beer in my time. That was the most satisfying. See, because there'd be nitro thing, there'd be nitrous.
Yeah.
Oh,
you get the initial, it's like, and then it fizzles off, and then you can actually,
very
satisfying.
Sorry, Gav.
No, I was just going to say, one thing you always talk about is the glass, is it the shtick?
Shtick, yeah. You've some half decent shtick there. So the shtick, the technical term for it, as I've learned, is the lacing. So it's basically the cream. If you have a big creamy head, if it's a good point for me, it'll stick all the way down, and we just call it shtick because in Ireland we just put everything that's S, we just put SH because I don't know. But like you'd rarely get it on the cans. But a good point. See, to get the good shtick, you have to drink it consistently from the same side. So if I go like this, right? See, it's kind of left that there, briefly. And then it'll briefly, and then if I go down that side, it'll stay that side. But then if I turn it around and do that, you just ruin the whole thing. So best way to drink the pint in the pub from the same side. You probably want to get rid of it in about 10 minutes, or else it'll start to go stale.
You must.
I've seen a. Oh, God's sake.
Sorry, on you go.
So keen, that's all over the place here.
Man, you try to pull him? No, I watched. There's a guy I watch on YouTube, and that is the beer, something like that guy. He was talking about the lacing, something to do with the amount of alcohol and the cleanliness of the glass as well. You have a clean glass.
You have me there on the alcohol part, but the clean glass, 100%. There's a pub in Dublin. It's a bit outside of Dublin city centre. It's called the Gravediggers. It's where I gave my highest rating for a pint. So I don't know if you boys even know, but like before I was doing the TikTok mixed drinks, I was doing pint reviews in pubs. That's what the Guinness Guru started as.
Seen it on YouTube, aye.
Yeah, and then these fucking mixed drinks just happened over lockdown out of boredom. But yeah, the best pub I gave a score to, I think I gave like a 9.4 out of 10 or something. It's called the Gravediggers in Dublin, and they have a special dishwasher just for their Guinness glasses. Oh, so wow. That's how seriously it's. The pub is 180 years old. They haven't changed the furniture in it in 180 years. It's just, it's like it's not a fucking shithole.
How is the furniture still together? Like,
I don't know. Maybe it's restored or something. But yeah, they're one of their dishwashers is purely for Guinness glasses, and the guy who runs it basically says, you know, if you're serving food and cocktails and coffees and you're putting it all in the same washing machine as the Guinness glasses, yeah, it's washing them all, but those little particles are flying around, and it only takes tiny little particles to stick to this glass, and that will prevent the Guinness from sticking on the pint, if you know what I mean. So there you go.
I hope he never ever watches this then, because he'll be actually.
I've actually sent him when I did the Blue Wick in the first place. I sent him and I said, I'll be looking for one of these when I come in next time. And he just said, "You're barred."
See, one thing, Dara, that I wanted to ask. Don't need to answer it, but it's quite good to have a view from someone who's in Ireland. So we had one of our previous guests, Curtis. He lives in Belfast, and he was very vocal about like the whole Protestant Catholic divide and stuff like that. Did you ever see any of that kind of growing up? Is it?
No, that's only up there.
Is it? Right,
yeah.
Okay.
It's non-existent here. When you're a kid, it's kind of like similar to when you're a kid, like you realize when you get older that you said stuff that was very wrong. So when you're a kid, you might call your mate, "Oh, you gay," or whatever. And then you get older, you're like, "I was an idiot." When we were kids, you could be like to your mate, "Oh, you fucking proddy," or something, as in as a slur. And then you realize how ridiculous is that. But there's no Protestants down here.
Yeah.
So there's no real like
none?
There's no tent. Not really, anyway. There's like.
Not that you know of.
Yeah, there's no like tension or anything. All the tension is up the north, and even now it's not really that bad anymore. There's still little patches of it.
Yeah.
But
it used to be really bad.
Yeah, but even when I lived in New Zealand there for a year, and all the big Maori boys would be like, "Oh, did you come here because of all the war in Ireland?" And be like, first of all, that was about 30 years ago, and second of all, no.
That's interesting. How did you go to New Zealand?
Why don't we find out what growing up where you were in that? If you
want to grab another
Guinness and talk about like where you grew up, or are you quite happy you've covered that? Because what we do is obviously we go through everybody's life and see.
You ask whatever you want.
It's up to you,
I'll answer.
Right, so what was it like growing up then in Ireland? Then was it just the same as everybody else?
Pretty much like I would say I've had a very easy life, to be honest with you. Not rich or anything like that, but just pretty easy going. Like good family.
Nice,
always had work. Was always very confident in myself that I would not be a success, but like I didn't go the college route. I did college for a year, dropped out, blah blah blah. But always just had this sort of quiet confidence, I suppose, in myself that something would click someday. And yeah, and then growing up, yeah, I've been asked that a couple of times before, and not a whole lot to say. Literally, standard primary school, secondary school, I wasn't a rebel or anything, but just I enjoyed secondary school for like the social aspect. But in terms of being in school, I was just like, oh Jesus, the actual classes I just couldn't do. Could never study at all. Which I was nearly relieved because everyone else was so stressed. in and have you done this? Have you? Never had the ability to study, so I just didn't. I tried once or twice, didn't bother. So school was fine, didn't do great. Went to an average college. Only went to college because I got a rugby scholarship, believe it or not.
Wow.
Nice.
No, it's not a big, massive college or anything.
Oh, it sounds like a big deal. Big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal.
I'm being way too humble here.
This is the place to be humble, man.
Yeah. No, it was a grand college, but like the scholarship thing was basically you go for the year and you get like 1,500 quid at the end of the year. So I literally just went for the year, played a few matches, sat all my exams, but failed them, and then got my money. And I was like, right, I'm gonna drop out. And that was, I'm 27 now. That was, fuck me, that was what, say 8 years ago. Yeah. And then just done a good few different jobs since. And I've been a painter decorator the last 3 years. That's when
I say that. Did you paint your flat? That looks like a great paint job, man.
I actually didn't, but it does look well.
Whoever done that has done a grand job then.
Well, funny you say that. The guy who did this, he's the guy I work for. Well, he did this during lockdown because his brother owns the flat. That's an unnecessary story you didn't need to hear, but I just said I'd say it.
But no, it's good to bring context to the conversation. So what number did you play at rugby then?
Second row.
Do you know rugby, Kenny?
Do you still play? I do know a wee bit of rugby, man. I went to Dublin to watch Leinster play.
Okay, when was that?
Had it been 2000 and post-travelling, no, pre-travelling? 2013, maybe 14.
Yeah,
many years ago.
It
was when the Rabo Direct.
Rabo Direct, yeah, it seems to change every year. Rabo Direct,
year, man.
Yeah. But rugby wise, I won't go on too much about it because I don't. Who's got which one? Kenny, Gavin is not a rugby expert, so we won't chime on about it too much. But
no,
Kenny, no, chime on.
I'm not a rugby expert.
Kenny's the absolute expert, the Leinster man.
Me, Leinster crazy man, just crazy.
Rugby, it suited me because I'm so big. I don't know. I posted a TikTok. Everyone kept asking me on TikTok, how tall are you? And I posted it saying I'm 6'7", and people.
Are you?
Yeah, that's one thing no one ever seems to know, and then they might see me and they go like, "Holy shit!" Especially if it's in pubs or something. I played rugby and gave it up just because of injuries. Long story short, and I actually went. The reason I went to New Zealand was I went there in like 2016 was to play rugby, not like for money or anything, just like there was this kind of setup where they would give you a place to stay, a job, car, shit like that. And then I was supposed to go, done the shoulder just before I went, and I could sit around, get an operation, or I could go and just throw a bag on my back and forget about the rugby. And I did it. I went by myself, and genuinely is the best decision I ever made in my entire life, to just get up at, 22, 23 years old, and just bag on your back, landed in Auckland, and I was very shy, and I was just like, what am I doing with my life? And then it's like fight or flight or whatever cheesy line you want to call it, and just worked it out, and it was fine, and it was the best experience of my life, and I really came out of my shell, and ever since, it like, you can't really shut me up, you know.
That's what I was trying to do there, shut you up so I could speak. See when you landed in Auckland, did you go, I can either be the shy guy that I am, or I can recreate myself as somebody else? And you thought, I'm going to be a bit. It wasn't that
advanced, mate.
it was. You just done that. You just done it naturally. Then you just.
Yeah, it was just. I actually went to the town that I was supposed to play rugby in because it was this real nice beachside town. I knew a guy who lived there. He had played here, and I just checked into a hostel, and the next day, the guy in the hostel, it was one of those hostels like, get to work, and the guy was like, when I go to a bloody sawmill tomorrow, fucking a few hours. I was like, yeah, I've always been one to I was always mad for work, do you know what I mean? I any jobs going, I'd be like, yeah, no problem. I wouldn't give a shit what it was, just a bit of cash. Did that. Then I was working in a kiwi fruit factory with all the Maori boys. That was hilarious. It's working different places. But yeah, and then being in the hostel, there would be, 60, 70 people at any given time. And like that, it's like, do I want to just... my problem was always, I was terrible at being the person to open a conversation. Once, if someone came over to me and was like, oh, come over to our group, I'd be fine. But I just really, so I couldn't break that barrier of, there was a group over there, I was by myself, and I was like, oh, I can't just go over and say hi. Like, what a fucking weirdo I'd be if I did that. And the thing was, there was all these Americans and all, and they'd be the total opposite to me, and they'd be wrecking everyone's head. They were like, hey man, and you're like, oh, you don't want to be like that. But yeah, just got in with everyone, and then they were actually mostly English, but they were all right.
Have to get that wee bit in, didn't we?
Yeah. You boys are like that.
We've got something in common, mate. That's it.
I don't mind English. It's just that it's the minority of them.
That's probably
it's only like half the population. So.
One thing you say, like, is there a kind of stereotype in Ireland, like, about Scottish people being very anti-English? Is that a thing, or?
I don't think.
No, I think we're too busy. We're too busy.
Oh no, he's froze.
Scottish people.
Say that again, mate. Sorry, he froze there.
Yeah, actually just froze. He went, we're too busy.
I said, we're too busy disliking the English people ourselves to really, nice. To really care about what the Scottish... We know, we know that Scottish and Welsh don't like the English. Well, let's put that in one of these...
air quotes.
Don't want anyone going to jail here. But I know, listen, I've sure one of my best mates I met on holiday was an English lad. That's very much when you were 12 years old, you'd be like, fucking England, fucking wankers. 1916, up the IRA and all this, and now you just like, oh my god.
What was I saying? To be fair, like, I've done travelling as well. I done Australia. I didn't go to New Zealand, and one of my good mates for there was English. A film fan though, a bit felt quite sorry for him up until now, man.
A film fan?
Aye, film man.
Well, I thought you said film as in like movies.
Film. What was his name?
Aye. Nah, you're not going to know him. You definitely don't know him.
Say his name.
John Somerville.
Okay, no.
Do you know John?
No, but the English guy I met was a fucking Fulham fan, so and he lived in Australia as well. So I was like, no way is this.
Imagine.
That would have been fucking weird, like.
Man.
I know, yeah.
That would have been proper creepy. Right, anyway. So, are you Celtic or Rangers then? You even care about football?
Couldn't give a shite.
No. That's it.
But again, when I was younger, it was all Celtic, because Celtic are Irish. Do you know, Celtic are as Irish as, and then you realise they're not any more Irish than they're not any more Irish than Rangers. Exactly. So why would I give a shit?
That's true.
But it's the same way, even like when I was a kid, I support Man United. My brother is a little bit older than me. He still loves them, but like, I couldn't give a shit. I'd watch them, whatever, but like, the passion is just totally gone.
Do you think what's the script with sport then? Do you sorry Gavin, I'm cutting you off, but
would be rugby. But again, I don't know, I've gone to shit lately with even watching matches. Like, I'd go into work and the lads would be like, oh, some match there yesterday, and I'd be like, oh yeah, Googling what game was on yesterday, and it's like the Champions League final, and I'm like, oh fuck.
that's kind of like me, you Kenny, yeah.
It's very much me. It's not you, man. You seem to catch most.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'll be saying to you to watch that game, and you're like,
oh, sorry.
No.
Right, saying I did. To be fair, man, it's hard to keep up, now. I feel like the world's fucking other place. And
nah, couldn't be arsed with
it. Would you say rugby's more popular in Southern Ireland than football?
No, probably. Rugby has gained a lot of traction over the last 10 years.
Especially even here, man. Even here, it's very, very big now.
Yeah. And you boys used to be awful at rugby, and now you're actually very good.
Aye,
it's good to see.
We had the sevens here about 6 years ago.
That's right. Aye,
that's meant to be a right good piss up.
Playing against
I worked in the Marriott Hotel there, and all the teams stayed in their hotel. So I worked in the leisure club, so the teams came down every morning for a wee bit of an ice bath, a swim, a sauna, a steam room.
Yeah.
I was like, any chance of tickets? Like, aye, there you go, man. Wow. Didn't expect, but
Just gave you tickets.
It's just I just gave us tickets.
Yeah.
It's just a massive piss up, people in costume.
Yeah. No one gives a fuck about the rugby.
Aye, exactly, man. And you see one guy just it's a normal size rugby park, Gav, but it's only 7 it's a 7-a-side.
Yeah.
Fuck, these guys are fucking fit, man. Proper fit.
Well, Darryl, no, like you're 6'7", right? I don't know. You've probably not listened enough to the podcast to realise that I'm definitely not 6'7".
He's not. He isn't.
I'm on the 5'6" sort of scale, so I'm fucking tiny. So where I work just
I'm
now,
not 6'7" either.
You're 6 foot plus, so that's a plus.
Aye.
So these guys come in. See, when they come into my work just now, so they had a bit of a deal. The Glasgow Warriors had a bit of a deal with my work, and they were coming into the gym, and see them walking by me. It's like a fucking cartoon. Like, they are huge, and I'm just like, I literally need to do that to see these people. I probably do that with you as well, to be fair, but I think it's because of how broad they are as well. Do you know what I mean?
I'm tall, but like these boys, I remember even like when I played. Here's a humble brag. I played Leinster under 18s, and even like there was a couple of guys that were the same height as me, but they had like 10, 15 kilos on me, and I just couldn't. And they were like ripped as well. I was like, how can an 18-year-old be that size? They're just turning into absolute animals. It's unbelievable. It's obviously genes to a certain extent, but they take them from, especially over here. Like if you go to a private school, it's literally just rugby, and which I didn't go to, but they just like you're in the gym when you're 13, and they're just feeding them fucking protein shakes to beat bands. And they just turn into monsters.
Just powder, in their mouth.
Just powder in one hand and quick gulp of water.
Aye.
See what you're saying there, Dara, about like being like no as Celtic daft as what you maybe think Dublin is. I remember my first ever experience going to Dublin. I went into a bar, and I for the life of me, can't remember the name of it. It's literally down the road for Temple Bar. It's quite a famous one. There's live music and stuff like that. It's brilliant.
It's probably
Palace
every bar in Temple Bar.
The Palace Bar, no?
Palace, it might be, mate. I think it might be. It's like
there is about 50 bars on that street. So.
I know. To give you an example, when you walk out, there's like it was at Christmas time. There was like a kind of wee market right in front of the pub. It was like these stalls and stuff like that, but probably I'm doing a terrible job explaining. But anyway,
playing the pint in the middle of Temple Bar. That's what I would have done. That's what I'll tell you. I had a pint in the middle of Temple Bar. It was lovely.
You can tell in a minute. So I've basically been in there thinking, first time in Dublin. I'm a big Celtic fan, so I'm thinking, fucking can't wait. Like, this is going to be mental. Rebel songs on. There's going to be everything. I walk into this bar and there's like fucking smooth radio on the TV. Like, so I was like, the fuck? I was like, mate, can you put the Celtic game on? And he's like, yeah, what channel? And I was like, what channel? I was like, I thought Dublin was going to be fucking mental Celtic, but
no,
they don't even care. Like,
no,
it's a big, massive, huge tourist industry now, isn't it? It's no.
Because he was like, who they playing? And I was like,
local, man.
Nah, man. Like the Celtic thing is like when you're a kid, you think because they're Irish that Celtic. But that's before you even start watching football. And then there might be, like, there's this real famous Irish video. It's like more of a meme now. But it's this guy, and he's wearing a Celtic jersey, but he's like a fucking, what you call it, like a junkie, like. And he's on the street. And this, he's saying, this woman is asking him about I don't know if you boys even know, but there is a League of Ireland football. And she's asking him about that. And he doesn't have a clue. And he's wearing a Celtic jersey, and she's like, who's your favourite player for, say, Bohemians or Shelburne or something as a team here? And their kit would be like red and white. And he's like, I'm my favourite player, the fella in the red and white jersey. And then she goes, and then it's something, and then the real famous line, and he goes, and of course, Celtic. So it's like renowned as just like, you have to be a bit of an idiot to support
essentially
Celtic.
You grow out of it unless you really
exactly.
follow it. You just grow out of that whole stick.
You grow out of it unless you're a junkie, basically.
That's there you go, Gav, man.
So I'm a
giant junkie. No, you're not a giant junkie. You're a normal sized junkie.
I'm a small junkie.
Right, we'll talk about Dara then. first time having a drink, was it Guinness? Being the guru.
Oh,
and that,
fucking hell, no. First time ever.
Maybe your first drink. So we'd spoken about this in the last podcast, about like your first drinking experience.
That yet, though.
No posted yet.
First drinking experience was. Do you guys have Druids cider?
Probably, but I've never.
No, it's just.
I've not seen it.
Probably like, I don't know, Strongbow. It's just really cheap cider.
Oh, we have Frosty Jacks cider.
Probably the same.
That's probably equivalent.
Yeah, it's like you have, like we have Bulmers, you have Magners. It's like an awful.
Both. We've got both. We're spoiled for choice.
Oh wow!
Hey,
wow,
hey.
That's news to me. Well, Druids is like an absolutely awful version of that, and that's what we used to drink when we were kids. And it was actually, I think I was 15, 16, hard man. And yeah, very hard.
Big time.
And yeah, so we would just go religiously, like maybe every Friday we'd get like 4 cans of Druids. I think we were mental. And one lad would buy them from the local shop using a fucking school bus pass that said he was 18. And he'd go in about 4 times and come out with like 8 cans of Druids each time. And that shop has since closed down. Not surprisingly to say, the guy was an absolute idiot running it.
I thought it would have been you getting in. If you're 16,
I didn't have the bus pass, so we were literally 15, and he was using the bus pass. It was comical. And then that was what we did for like say 2 years, and then you get to like 17, you start trying to sneak into pubs and stuff. But yeah, first drink. I remember though, after the first time I ever tried to drink was after, I don't know what you guys call it. Like, we call it our junior cert. It's the exams you do when you're like 14, 15.
It's like prelims
or something.
And after that, it's like, for a lot of people, like, that's your first time drinking. And I was drinking, I think I got 8 cans of those like little Budweisers. And I split them with one of my mates. We were in a field and they were warm. I took one sip and I was like, I can't drink this. And I was like, how am I going to drink beer like for the rest of my life? This is so disgusting. And then obviously you just get accustomed to it. But that was the first memories. In terms of Guinness, I didn't have a Guinness until I was probably 19, 20.
Nice.
And I didn't, I'll be totally honest, and I've said this before, I fucking did not like it at the start.
An acquired taste, isn't it?
It really is, yeah, it really is. And then honestly, it was only really when I got back from New Zealand, so 3-4 years ago, I started just really liking it. I suppose because you can't really get a good pint when you're away. And then it's all I've really drank since. Like, if I go to a pub, I'd rarely get a beer. Even in the summer, I'd probably just drink Guinness. I'd just stick it out, like, even if it was in the hot sun.
A cultured drinker.
Culture, yeah.
That was my next thing I was going to say there, Kenny. Sorry.
I'm going to tell you my first experience.
Right, go for it.
Right.
Go for it.
So I was either 15 or 16, right? And I had a season ticket for Rangers going to Ibrox. It's me and my 2 mates. I was the tallest it is. So we get in the bus with everybody, and there's all their guys, and they're all having a drink. And they're like, right, we'll go to the pub with him, see if we can get served. I'm like, okay, right. So we got off the bus. We were going to the Bluebells bar.
Fucking hell.
And I went, what do I order at the bar? My 2 mates are like, just whatever's extra cold. Get something extra cold. That's meant to be the good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I woke up. What do you want, son? I went, where have you got that's extra cold? He went, Guinness. And I was like, 3 pints of that, mate.
Jesus Christ.
Sells me 3 pints of Guinness, and I walk here, and my 2 mates are going, wait, you do. And I went, that's all they've got. That's I think it was called ice cold. I think Guinness, it was Guinness ice cold or something.
I think it was extra cold.
Was it extra? Okay.
It didn't even really. It was here for like 6 months, and they got rid of it, but they kept it abroad.
They kept it here, because if it's that cold, you don't taste it as much.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I went to her, my 2 mates like, that's Guinness, and I was like, so they've got an extra cold.
And what did you think of it?
I got through half a pint, quite enjoying it, just because it was that cold and it
was
started
freezing.
to get warmer.
Then you started to actually taste it.
Oh, I left about 3/4. Just over a quarter of a pint, and I was like,
fair.
It's not for me, man. So I walked through it.
One thing I've
served
noticed,
at 15, 16, man, I was pretty chuffed at that.
That's pretty cool, to be fair.
Told me. One thing I noticed is, like, my first ever time ever trying Guinness was in Dublin, so I thought, I liked it. I was like, oh, this is really nice, but I must have been about 19, 20, something like that.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed it, and then see when I come back home, see getting a pint of Guinness in Glasgow, totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
There's actually a page on Instagram called Glasgow Guinness Man.
Right.
And he does kind of like, there's a good few pages in Dublin and they do reviews, but my page, I think anyway, is the only one that has a face because obviously it's easy to do a review without having your face on it. You can say what you want. But there is a guy who does Glasgow ones, but he does be messaging me saying like, man, fuck me, the Glasgow pints are shit.
He's honest.
So his page no longer exists, man, because he's
Yeah.
not a good pint.
Every review is like a 2 out of 10.
So how,
on you go, Jeff.
sorry, I was just going to say, so when you started, obviously you came home from New Zealand, started drinking Guinness, or you started enjoying it. When did the whole sort of, I could maybe start something here? Did you enjoy it that much that you thought?
No, it's very, the way the Guinness Guru started was, there's another guy who was doing it with me. Well, not really with me. He was kind of like the cameraman. And he is a guy I know from my hometown. Wouldn't know him super well. Well, obviously I do now. So August of last year, 2019, he sends me a random message. He'd be a kind of guy like me, just like trying different things, like social media, video, like just whatever, just not wanting to settle. Probably, I presume, your boy's attitude as well, not wanting to just settle with the standard 9 to 5, which is totally fine, but for people, for dreamers like us, it's just not going to do.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, and so he messaged me. I was doing like random YouTube shite videos. Funny one for you. I was doing videos on a series called Buckle Up on an old channel, and it's basically just a rip-off of Carpool Karaoke. And I had like a couple of very kind of small-time Irish like singers and stuff on it. So, but anyway, he saw that I was doing that.
Did you sing as well? Did you sing?
Oh yeah. You want to check those videos out? I learned.
Can we find it?
Type in Buckle Up and my name, you'll find it. Man, those were the toughest videos I ever made. I was in the car, I had all the lyrics learned. The camera was on the dashboard, I had to control that, I had to drive. It was crazy. And I honestly, I know I sound like I'm full of shite, but those videos are probably and will always be the thing I'm most proud of, because I did them. They were getting very little views. I kept doing them. And then this Guinness Guru thing came because of that, because he saw me doing that. But anyway, he was just like, his name is Colsey. His name is Colin, but I call him Colsey.
That's who you do the podcast. You done the podcast?
Yeah. You know, Colsey has kind of stepped back in the last month or two just because he got a new job and he's very busy. And it wasn't the end of the world because I'm the Guinness Guru, so it's not like the end of the world. But anyway, how it started was he messaged me last year in August. And do you boys know Barstool Sports?
Yeah, I've seen it on Snapchat and stuff like that.
So there's the guy who runs Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy. He does a thing called One Bite Pizza Reviews, and he goes to he's been doing them for years. He goes to all the different pizza places in New York, Manhattan, America. Takes the pizza, brings it outside, takes a couple of bites, and rates it. Unbelievably simple, very little editing. It's just all one clip. And he just sent me this, and he goes, you know, I think, and it was so random because I didn't really know him, but he goes, he sent me a message, any chance I could have a chat with you? I said, well, what, like, I'd be very much like, if you say that to me, I'm like, what is it? Like, none of this, that's me for a coffee. I'm like, what is it? And he sent me a voice note, and he said, and he sent me a video of the guy doing the pizza review. He said, I just think this could work for Guinness around Dublin. And I said, yeah, okay. I wasn't like the biggest Guinness drinker in the world, but I was a Guinness drinker. And I said, fuck it, like with these things, like yourselves with the podcast, I'm sure you just say, right, let's just try it out and see what happens. And then you just keep going. We did one in a kind of a local pub, never really posted it. It was just to get a tester. And we were like, this is shit, but it has potential. And we just kept doing it. And when I say we were getting 0 views, we were getting, if we got 100 views on a video, we'd be like chuffed. And this would be like, we're going into town, into Dublin. He's driving in. We're going to like 4 or 5 different bars. and making them all into separate videos. And I think it took us like 3 months to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. And I swear, there was so many times where I was just like, this isn't working. Like, let's just, but I just said, just persevere, because I tried a few other things in my life and probably gave up on them too early, but that's another story. But, so we started doing that, and then we kind of developed it into going to towns instead of just going Guinness Guru reviews this one pub. It was we'd go to a town and we'd put on Instagram, right lads, we're on to this town, what's the best pint? Get 20 suggestions. We'd go to the top 5, hit all them, score them, and they'd be like, this is the best pint in this town. And those videos started to do very well. They were getting like 5,000-6,000 views, which was unbelievable for us.
Oh,
we were still on
anybody,
like,
I think
we were still on like 200 subs, so we're like, this is so good, because people were sharing it. It was like, oh, just see, he was in this pub and he met that guy, and it's all about like such awareness. He
was at the same pub we were at.
It's all about your content needs to be shareable, you know, and that's what I've like. If you want to grow it, like, and so we were doing that, and we had released about 5 or 6 of them, and then of course COVID hit. And then I just started doing anything I could just to put out content. Like I was reviewing craft beers and
what was the deal with the White Claw? What was going on there, man? Have you figured out what's actually in that?
Yeah, it's called a hard seltzer. It's just fizzy water. It's fizzy water.
But is it vodka? Is it gin? Is it just fermented?
They don't tell you. The can just says alcohol.
Fucking hell.
I've seen them because I saw your video and I was like, that's a dead American.
It's the biggest fucking con. It's pure marketing. Like, I'd say they got an investor, they spent $20 million on marketing, said, get this in every influencer's hand, get this on every Instagram ad, and we'll make a fortune. And they did, and fair play to them, because it's an awful drink, and they've fucking done amazing out of it. And then we're kind of here. That's kind of the story.
What was your favourite drink pre-Guinness? Did you ever have a favourite drink? Was it always kind of cider?
I always just drank Coors Light. It was pretty basic, to be honest with you. Like in the pub, would just be Coors Light, just because it went down very easily.
That's what it says in the tin, doesn't it? It's Coors Light. It's light.
See, in Australia, when I was travelling, they had Goon. Did you hear of that in New Zealand?
I tried Goon. I went to Australia for a week with that English fella who supports Fulham that I met. He had been there before, and he was like, "You might, you swacky," and we were poor as fuck. We couldn't even afford a trip to Australia, but we just did it. Like, we did it while we were in New Zealand, and then went back to Australia as like a holiday. And I remember there was a day where he had like, his bank account was, I was waiting to get paid that evening. It was like a Wednesday. We were in Australia, middle of the trip. I was waiting to get paid that evening. And my bank account was like $10 and his was like negative whatever. And so we were like, right, we've got $10 till, it was maybe midday. And we said, we've $10 till 9 o'clock tonight. So we went out and we bought 2 big packs of noodles for like $1 and then a box of Goon. And we just ate the noodles, sat on the beach, got pissed. And then the money came in, it was fine. But yeah, the Goon, tough, man. I've drank some nasty shit in my day, but I think that could be top of the list. That is really
tough,
awful stuff.
It's just boxed wine, Gav. It's made it everything that a wine company wouldn't use. So anything that will ferment, they've put it in a fucking silver.
I thought it was beer. I thought it was beer.
No,
it's not beer, man.
But would I be right in saying it's like wine? I know nothing about wine, but like, wine is like aged and it's in barrels and shit for like weeks and years, whereas Goon is literally picked and just put in a box, and that's why it's so bad, because they don't age it or something. But it's,
I'd assume it's something disgusting. It's not something,
but it's just so cheap. Like it's literally like 4 liters for about £10.
That's saying something about it.
Yeah,
I think it's fucking rocket fuel, man. It just from it,
you'd be absolutely off your head for like a $5. It's great.
It sounds like something all the Celtic fans in Dublin would drink.
Yeah. If they had that, there's a reason they don't sell that stuff here, because Jesus Christ.
Do you ever go to a pub and have anything other than a Guinness? Now, obviously Guinness is your thing, and that's what you've made. You're making a living pretty much out of it just now. But do you ever go and have another?
Most times I'd have Guinness first anyway, and then I might have like a whiskey or something later on in the night.
A whiskey?
Yeah, well, like
nice,
not
man.
a straight whiskey. I'm not hard like that. It'd be like a whiskey and Coke or something. Sorry to let you down.
Is the whiskey a Jack Daniel's honey? But like, it's no that sort of, down the list. Is it? Is it a decent whiskey?
Jameson, pal.
James. Well, here's something. Have you tried proper 12 yet?
I've tried it like really drunk, but I haven't bought a bottle of it and experimented with it now. What's Conor McGregor's? Because I feel like see the travelling fans that he gets to go to fights. Yeah,
are fucking unbelievable. Like, how can you get people to spend $4 or $5 to go to Vegas to watch a fight? Like, to me, that's baffling. But do you see that firsthand? That
what do you mean? How is that baffling?
Well, the amount of people who do.
You're a Celtic fan first, do you?
But what I'm saying is, most people don't have. I wouldn't have $5 just to go and spend and go to Vegas and go to a fight.
I get you. Well, a lot of them are probably like drug dealers.
Well, there you go.
Fair enough.
Moving on.
I don't know. I don't know is the answer. But yeah, like a lot of those guys who would go would be like, what's the word? Not even like scum. No, like the opposite. But like,
scum.
No, not scumbags, but that type, like that real
troublemakers.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Are you a Conor McGregor fan? Do you like him?
I don't. Yeah, I don't mind him. He's pretty much like slipped off the radar completely now.
He's tried to make a brief comeback with the Manny Pacquiao fight. He's posting about that.
Yeah, but you see, he posts that he's retired and he's coming back every day. So
the other day,
I would put my hand up and say I'm an absolute fair weather bandwagon sunshine sport or whatever phrase you want to call it. If he's fighting and like it's on a Saturday night and I want to get pissed with the lads, we'll buy the fight and we'll watch it, and we'll be really into it because we're probably putting money on it, and we're probably
that's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, so bad.
Yeah, on the first day going, Conor McGregor, it's right, aye.
I wouldn't be
in the whole interviews, and you're trying to find them, and you're
watching all the like the embedded and all that, and you're, like getting so into it.
You're watching that, and then you can turn up with your mates, and you're like, oh no, he's done well this camp.
Yeah, and then you're watching it, and you're like, fucking right hook and do this, and you're having a. And the funniest thing is, like, there might be the one mate there who's actually into it, and he's just like, "You guys don't even know," and you're just like, "Shut up."
Shut up, Brandon. Oh, sorry. Shut up, Steve.
It's always good to see somebody from Ireland, you know what I mean? Because when people talk about him and you see, and I'm a UFC fan, so I watch most things.
So you're that guy.
He's that guy. Yes. I don't know what I call you, Gav, but you're that guy.
But I'm a UFC fan, not just a Conor McGregor fan, but I like the sport. But see when you see like the lead up to the fight, and they talk about how big a star he is in Ireland, and they make you feel as if everyone in Ireland fucking loves him.
Yeah,
which probably isn't the case.
You putting on lip balm?
That's a bit lippy, lads. It's dry lips. Sue me.
No, I'm not going to sue you. Just the ladies know that you look after your lips, man.
We've not got enough money to sue you, mate. Don't worry.
But no, right. Conor McGregor. Some people, I sit on the fence with him. I'll be honest. Some people love him. Some people think he's an absolute scumbag. Like the amount of stories that have come out about him are crazy. But see,
have you ever heard what his views on like both ends of the spectrum? He says that people love me, people hate me, but everybody wants to see me fight. So it's either win,
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
kicked in. So it's
that's true.
He's kind of embraced that whole.
Yeah, but like to be honest, like when it's like even the people who say they don't like him, when he fights, being Irish and seeing the tricolour there now, it's very hard to not want him to win. and especially when all the fans are there. And I had, like you said it earlier, Gav, about like the fans and stuff. It blows my mind. And like when he's in the, what do you call it, when they're weighing in, and usually there's literally no atmosphere at those things, and there's fucking 5,000 lunatics, whether they're scumbags, whether they're good guys, who gives a shit. It's unbelievably entertaining, and they just take over. This is what the Irish people do, and it's probably annoying for other countries, but it's just like, we just love it. Like, just take over. Even like at the Euro tournaments, the Irish people and the Scottish lads will be good.
What was the World Cup you were at? The World Cup.
Oh man, we weren't in the World Cup.
Being the World Cup.
2002.
I remember that year though, because my uncle was a big Celtic fan.
Yeah.
On these rooms, like, right, come on, we want you to come round, we want you to watch Ireland. I'm like, we're Scottish.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, no, but we need to watch it though, because Ireland's in it. It's the home nation, because anybody but England. So
yeah, fair.
A home nation team's in it. We need to watch them.
But yeah, that's what Ireland are. We're just known for that. Like, going anything to do with sport, whether we're the best team in the tournament, the worst, whether it's Conor McGregor or fucking whoever else. For some reason, we just like Irish. We're good for. We love to party, but 90% of the time we don't take it too far.
Cause trouble.
Yeah, like they'd be on the streets, they'd be singing, they'd be interrupting traffic, but there'd be very few like actual fights. Now there's always going to be fights, but
you'd be very polite. You'd be inclusive as well. Very inclusive.
But like it's just everyone's pissed and they're all just fucking there for a good time.
Did you go to Surfers Paradise when you went to Australia for your?
Actually, that's the only place I went to. Yeah, just went there for like 5 days.
The Irish bar in the middle of Surfers Paradise.
Is it called Waxies?
Waxy O'Connor's.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
Keezy worked there, so he did.
Oh, Keezy, yeah, I know him well.
My mate, I know, but Gav fucked off at the wrong time there. So my mate worked there, and it was an Irish guy that worked at a hostel that got him a job, just because he saw that we were trying to get work, and he was just like, listen, hold on, I'll try and get you a job. And Keezy get a job in there. I feel like there's Irish people in every country in the world, like. Yeah. They're so well travelled, but it's so well respected.
Yeah, and like, because like over the last 100 years, so many millions of Irish people have left Ireland and set up base in other countries. They say like, if all those people never left, it's like the population of Ireland will be like fucking 100 million or something crazy. But it's funny you say about
me pouring a pint, Gav, man. Why are you doing that for? You never do that.
That's the way I'm pouring it.
But it's funny you say. It's funny you say about your mate getting the job like that. I had a very similar experience. So when I was finished in New Zealand, I went to Vietnam, Thailand, that sort of stuff. Now with very little money in my back pocket, went with the English guy, and then we met an Irish guy in Vietnam. So it was a perfect little trio. But we were in. It was around early December, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have enough money to go back to New Zealand. I didn't want to go home to Ireland in January because that's just grim, and I wasn't even gone a year. I just couldn't face going home in January. I'd only left the February before that, and we were staying in this Irish hostel kind of bar. Obviously it was called Paddy's. What else would it be called?
It's got to be Paddy's.
Yeah, yes. In Vietnam, and there was an Irish guy working there, and he was literally like, do you if you have any interest in working in a few weeks' work, sure, finish your travels and come back whenever. And I was just like, all right, no problem. So I went to Cambodia around start of January, went back to there, did it for about 2 months, and went home like March. But when I literally did nothing in that place. It was a hostel bar, and the thing was, the dynamic was he was running the hostel and I was running the bar. But I would they didn't even give me like time or days or anything. They were just like, it was like 6 days a week. Just be here in the evening and just make sure the place is like a bit of crack, as we say. And it wasn't that sort of like pushy, like going up to your room with a fucking bottle being like, oh, let's do the shot. It was literally just sitting in the bar drinking and just chatting to people, slowly getting the tempo up. And then I did that every night for like 2 months, and I was fucked by the end of it. But yeah, that was how easy, like with Irish people, it just seems to be like, you're Irish, right? I'll sort you out. I don't know why. It's just great.
Man, it's such a good culture. Because we'd have been fucked, man. Like we'd have been really
Yeah.
Just if you never got that job, man.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, Gav. That's where Keezy worked in a bar that I went to and stuff.
I know, I heard you, mate. I know.
You didn't? No,
I did. I put my earphones in.
Mid-sentence. Did you?
Did
Oh,
you?
so you kept going? You kept leaving?
See when you're saying there, like, Irish people seem to be everywhere. It's so true because, see, I would probably say, like, the majority of mainstream countries that you go to, there's an Irish bar, or cities. Like, there's always an Irish bar.
It's mad. It's very strange. It's so strange, and
It's
you don't
strange,
really think about it until like someone says it like that. Like, for such a small little country, like the Republic of Ireland has like 5 million people, and everywhere. And I know we are known as like drunks and like for drinking and stuff, but every single city, like every major city in the fucking planet, has an Irish bar, and it's like you don't see an American bar, like a Chinese bar, and these are the big Indian bar. These are the biggest countries in the world. It's always an Irish bar. I don't know what it is. Like, someone must have set one up somewhere, and just someone else thought, because they're rarely run by Irish people. It's just
they know it's going to sell.
They know it's going to sell. Yeah, it's just so funny. But it's not always Irish people in them. Like, as in, if your only market was Irish people, you'd be screwed, because like there's going to be always Irish people everywhere, but not that many. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
It's mental. Like if you went to a city, if you went to, I don't know, like somewhere in Germany or fucking Poland or something, and there was an Irish bar, would you be like, oh, let's go in there, that'll be a good crack? Or would you be like, and you could say this if you were, because some people would go, Jesus, that's the last place I want to go. Like, what would you go in or not?
It depends on the trip. See, if I was going for if you were going for a Celtic game, for example, so Celtic were playing like Hertha Berlin in the fucking Champions League, you'd go into an Irish bar, because you'd be like, but if I was going away, you're going away to try something different, try different culture. Exactly. I wouldn't go in. Nah. No,
that's what I'd say. But then you just end up, if you're with the lads and you're in a different city, you just always end up in an Irish bar, because you just know it's going to be solid. Like,
we ourselves Guinness, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even drink Guinness, because you'd know it would taste awful. But you're going into an Irish bar. There's nothing Irish about it. It's probably called something that's like it's like something's, and it's not even an Irish name. There's nothing Irish about it. But there's just nothing Irish about it. But you just gravitate towards it. I don't know why.
So one thing I found about being in Dublin was, I remember going back to the first time I was there. Like, the first time, there was a shop that was called, it was the Irish Primark, or like Peacocks or something like that. It was something. Pennies, that's what it is, Pennies. So I remember getting into Pennies, right? Just to like kind of walk about. And I walked in, and there was like these wee old women that I was trying to. So in Scotland, I'm not saying like it was rude or anything like that, but this woman kind of. No, I'm not. So she walked in, and this happened a few times. She walked in, and we were walking behind her, and she never held the door open. I was like, fucking hell, like, all right, okay. Good. And then later that night, I went to a nightclub. It was like a kind of bar nightclub. Yeah. And I was standing, me and my mate were talking, and this guy walked over and put his jacket over my jacket on the chair. And I was like, the fuck you doing? And he was like, I just started talking away, and then
you never swore at him. You never swore.
I never. I said, "What you doing?" Right?
Exactly.
But he kind of explained it. He was like, "Mate, we're just so laid back that it's no.
That's the jacket thing. Yeah, like I suppose it's nothing's ever personal. It's just
I like it though. See, when he explained it, I thought it makes sense.
No, man. If you're in a sorry, Kenny, one sec. But if you're in a nightclub or like a busy bar, it's like we kind of would nearly have a rule: don't bring a jacket, because you're just going to lose it, because you take it off, and like if there's not a cloakroom, you're just going to fuck it onto the seat, and someone will throw it over yours, and then they'll take yours, and it's so it's just way too laid back, probably.
It's good to know that's a thing, isn't
it? Yeah. It's not just your mate. You must have had a nice jacket, man. The guy wanted to man. You got it for Primark that day. Why you got so defensive about the jacket?
I got it for Pennies, mate, not Primark.
Pennies.
Sorry, pennies. But I think if I was in the middle of Poland and I saw an Irish bar, I'd be like, you'd probably see the football in there. I'm going there. That's what I would do.
Yeah. You can always justify it.
Aye.
Say, well, we know the pints to be good in there, even though we're not going to get pints. We're just going to get like Jaeger bombs or something.
Very cultured place. Very cultured.
Yeah.
So, a few things left, mate. I just see during lockdown, So I noticed obviously you posted quite a lot of videos and stuff, but how difficult was it to keep your reviews up when the pubs were shut? Was it just torture?
I wouldn't say it was torture because
you got a few takeaway pints, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did, yeah. Like, but that was probably 6 weeks into lockdown. I just had it in my head, just try to post a video pretty much every day. I don't care. Wow. Most of them are going to be absolutely shit. The idea wasn't to grow my channel during lockdown. It was just to sustain it, maintain it, and with the idea that if I don't post for 2 months, then I could easily come out of lockdown and just go, well, I don't know, maybe. It was just keep going. And it wasn't that hard because I wasn't working. Like my job, painter, decorator, I couldn't work from home. So I was literally just on the government payment for 6 weeks, sitting on my arse. So to film, like, I go to the shop at the start of the week and buy like 6 or 7 random beers, which I knew I was going to hate them all because I don't like any craft beers. I'm not I know I'm not one of those guys who'll go somewhere and try different things. Now I just want to buy the Guinness.
Did you try Brewdog?
Yeah, I did. I just think they all taste the same.
The punk.
IPA, like citrus, fucking chocolate stout, all these, they all just taste like shite to me. Like, and but it's because I don't experiment enough.
You're seasoned with your Guinness. You enjoy your Guinness.
Yeah.
So it's not Guinness, it's a Coors Light for you. That's it.
Yeah. but to answer your question, no, it wasn't too bad. And then I don't know if you saw, I did a video. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we know
that. Yeah, and that went pretty mental online.
Explain how mental it went for anybody who doesn't know. It went on the biggest platform pretty much
ever.
Well, yeah, let's be honest. Like on YouTube, it's got like maybe 300k views, which is obviously it doesn't have millions on YouTube. It's got about 300k, which is obviously incredible.
Fucking a lot.
We got about, within the space of a week, I got about 20 to 30 emails, which I just said yes to every one of them. That were basically just like, can we have your permission to use this video? And you don't need to send it. They would just download it themselves and chop it up, blah, blah, blah. And I saw it on Facebook pages. Like, it was on this Facebook page in America that had like 30 million likes or followers or whatever. And now I know a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, but it was on the Instagram page. And then, of course, it ended up briefly being on James Corden. And when I saw that, I was just like, I didn't know what to make of it because everyone was saying to me, "Oh, he didn't even give you any credit or anything." And I was like, why do you have to see that side of it? Like, just like,
how can people not just be happy for you?
Yeah, I just remember seeing it, and the funny thing was, because I edit the videos that I make, so everyone, like, I'd say 80% of people were like, "Oh, that was funny, that thing you did with the James Corden thing." I said, "What do you mean?" They said, like, "Wait, you edited yourself into the show?" I said, "That's not edited." And they were like, "What?" Because it's just like a little box, and you could easily edit yourself into it. But yeah, when I saw that, and like a lot of people, I don't know over there, but a lot of people here not dislike James Corden, but it's just that unfortunate thing that when you get that big in Hollywood, a lot of people just kind of think you're a bit of a sellout, which I've never thought that of James Corden, because I just, first of all, Gavin and Stacey for me is like top 3.
Wait, how fucking good is that? How good is that?
I've never seen it, so.
Okay.
But I really like James Corden though.
Right, Dara, will we kick Ken out here? We'll just
I was just going to say, let's just talk about Gavin and Stacey. How can you like James Corden and not have seen Gavin and Stacey, mate?
I missed that boat.
What else have you seen him in though that you like him? I mean, because that's his biggest.
He's massive. A League of Their Own. He's bigger than that, man.
Yeah, a League of Their Own. That's incredible.
A League of Their Own is class, man.
Yeah.
The banter they have, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
unreal.
There we go. I can stay, Dara. Thanks. That's easy.
I didn't say that.
Even the comic relief one, the comic relief stuff he done. When he came out of the changing room, he's talking to the English team stuff.
As his Gavin Stacey character. So you'd obviously like it.
What's his name?
Smithy.
His name in it.
Smithy. Yeah.
See, I knew that. I just didn't want to steal the credit. Gav. I didn't want to steal
well, yeah, to be honest, that was just mental. But like, again, it didn't. The only benefit I got was just kind of, I suppose, a bit of what's the word, like, as in all the work I was putting into the videos in lockdown, it was just kind of like
excitement.
Recognition. Yeah, that's the word. Good man, Kenny. You're back in.
You. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'll drink my pee and shut up now.
Kenny, one thing you said, and I seen it as well, but Kenny kind of brought it up about your during lockdown. In fact, I think it was only a couple of weeks ago that you'd posted it anyway. It was about the pub on wheels.
Yeah.
Thing. So
it was only last weekend.
Last weekend,
aye. Yeah. So that was the guy who owns it. Basically, this is the thing with all these. Like, these things just always take months to happen. He messaged me about 4 months ago, and he just sent me a picture of this thing. He said, "Oh, mate, you'll have to." I didn't know him. Like, and he goes, "You'll have to try. You have to review the Guinness in this." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." A lot of the times you get messages like that, and then nothing happens. And then he said, "Oh, it's not actually ready yet, but I'll get back to you." about a month ago or 6 weeks ago, he says, "Oh, we've this ready," and he sent me pictures, and I was like, "Holy shit, that thing looks incredible!" And so he said, basically, like, there was no money involved, but he gave me the whole thing, like, for free for the night. He just said, "Fucking just enjoy," and
enjoy it.
He didn't care. Yeah, he just said, "Get a few videos and we'll do a competition." And the competition was unbelievably successful because
huge, man. Huge.
We got, like, now to be fair, it was a really, like, I've done a competition before where I was giving away like these fucking coasters, and it got maybe like 25 entries. This competition got about 700, and I think I got about 1,500 followers from it. His page went from 300 followers to about 1,500 in the space of like 4 or 5 days.
I seen you with the entrance. My missus does the biscuit box. She does. You'll know I've heard it because you're in a different country. But she does competitions, and she had like about 70 or 80 people enter it. She just had to use a number generator or something like that. What did you use? How did you?
That's what I used. I used it on. It's just actually my missus told me to use, because I didn't know what way I was going to pick the winner. But it was you just go online and you just type in, like, literally Instagram competition generator, and just use the first one that pops up, man. And you take the URL from your competition, from your post, put it in there, and it does all the work for you. And you just press 3, 2, 1, and it just clicks someone random. And luckily for me, the guy who won it was like, his name was like something. What I was gonna say, like, I was just glad it wasn't like fucking 18-year-old. Obviously, it was the rules were you have to be over 18, but I was just glad it wasn't like an 18-year-old, because, like, giving all the alcohol to someone so young. He was the guy. His username was something 94, which meant he was like 25, 26, and he lives about an hour away from the guy who owns a trailer, where he could have lived in fucking the top of Ireland, and your man would have had to drive like 5 hours. So it worked out perfect. But yeah, that thing was genuinely, like, I've gotten a few since that. I've gotten a few different messages from guys being like, "Oh, we have this rental bar. How much do you charge to do a story about it?" And I probably should have just taken it. Yeah, but I've just kind of said, like, if you bring me because I'm very much like about the long game. I'm sure you can see that with all the fucking shite videos.
I've seen you even when you made the post about, like, if Guinness sponsored you, is that what you're wanting? You're like, nah, because if Guinness expect every pint to be perfect, then that's not
that would be fine. But yeah, you know what I mean. It's my plan is to, not my plan, but I feel like the only way I'm going to be as successful as I want to be is by being known for being authentic and genuine. And if you're just taking like 100 quid to just put up a story and you haven't even fucking tried it, like, what if I put up that story and someone sees it, rents it, it's an absolute shit show, and then they think of me as a fucking arsehole. So no. And so I said, like, one guy, I said, well, if you want to bring the thing to me, I'll review it, we'll do a video, but if it's shit, I'll say it's shit. And he's bringing that to me on Saturday, so, like, that'll be interesting. But be good, but that thing happened. That was very just natural. And the guy, just the doghouse, the mobile bar, whatever, he just literally said, "I'll bring it to you. I don't need to be in the video or anything. You just literally work away. If you get a few videos, run a competition, happy out." Then I probably did way more than he was expecting. I put a YouTube video up, Instagram, load of stories, competition, everything. He was delighted. I was delighted to get the content out of it. And it was just so. I was saying to the lads, like, I'll probably never do a better collab than that in my life, because it was just
see how happy we were with the pint. You were like fucking like, listen, this is fucking actually really good.
I know.
To be honest, and it was shit.
And and it was funny. I was sitting in
and somebody's phone goes, and you're like, fucking turn your, like, somebody was turning your phone off, and you're like, fucking hell, man, like, can it be like so authentic? Because it's just, that's why I think if everything on the internet was like that, it'd be so much better, man. Like, because it's just
like,
honest,
because it's so natural to, like, say the thing with the phone going off. It's so natural to just, when you're editing, just naturally, not even negative or positive, just that you take that out because it doesn't look perfect. But what I actually learned from the guy who does the pizza reviews, his is just one take, and you get the funniest things, because like, he could be out in the street, some homeless guy could come up to him or something, and they'd be talking, and he'd be like, "Oh, have a slice of pizza and give me a score out of 10." And that's what you want to see. Like, my videos, it's never been all about the Guinness. It's about the experience you have in the pub and stuff, and like capturing little things here and there. But yeah, that thing just turned out to be so, like, mutually beneficial, if that's the term.
See, one thing that I really like, and you've just touched on it there, is obviously authenticity, and I love your honesty. Like, you don't just bullshit a pint because the pub fucking paid you £100, or what. That's not what you do. But when you went to the Guinness Storehouse, I'm going to be honest, like, see, from an outsider, you would think, right, this Guinness is going to be his highest rated pint, because of where it is. And then I can't remember what you rated it, maybe a 7.8 or something.
7.3.
7.3 out of 10. So and then that kind of made me not happy, you know what I mean? Like, but it's really good.
Well, the thing is, it's widely known here that it's not a good point in the Guinness Storehouse, which is just bizarre. It's bizarre that it's not a good point in there. Like, how the fuck can it not be a good point in there? But it's widely known. I've had it before. Everyone knows that here. And when I was going in, I was, like, you have it in your head before you even get there. I was like, what am I going to score this? Like, do I do it high so Guinness like me, and or do I go super low so it's like, fuck the system? But I just say to myself, I am just going to review. Honest, I could have gotten a really, really good one, and I would have given it an 8, whatever, and blah blah blah. But it was actually funny going into the storehouse, because the guy serving me the pints, like, he actually knew who I was, which was...
That's right, because I heard him talking to you and stuff through...
Yeah, so he was like... oh, kind of... Like, there's two of those big bars at the top, and one of them was like half full, and he was like, well, we usually fill that one up first, but I'll let you go into the other one by yourself and all this, and he brought me out, and then he the whole thing was that you could only... Sorry, lads, I'm going to grab the charger here. 1 sec. But I keep talking. The only thing was that he was like, it's a shame you can't stay for a few more, because blah, 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 because you have to have food, and because our rules are fucking weird over here with the COVID. So he was like, it's a shame you can only have one. And then literally 2 minutes later, he was like, so you have another one then? And it was, he gave me, so you get one free with your ticket. I ended up having like 4, because he was obviously like trying to put me up, but I was kind of thinking, well, I've already given me score here, mate. But that was pretty cool that he actually kind of knew who I was, and I felt like my ego definitely got a boost there.
How was the actual tour? Was it?
It's a self-guided tour, which are the best 3 words in tourism for me. Self-guided tour. I hate tours of anything where you're just standing there and someone's just telling you about the place. I've been in the Guinness Storehouse probably 3 times already, and I've never actually done the walking tour. I just think it would be so boring. You just walk around and you see whatever you want to see. We pretty much just went straight to the top. We were only in there for 100%. One reason, where it was a review.
At what point did you start adding? Have you always done like 7 point or 6 point?
Yeah, copy that from the pizza guy, basically. Not gonna lie.
Did you? Oh, right.
It's just easier, because like pretty much every pint is going to be somewhere between like 6 and 9. If it's in a pub if it's in a recommended pub, it's going to be between 6 and 9. So it's kind of, and I've done about 100 pubs. So if you're just going, well, these 40 pubs are 6, like you want to get it that like lads in their towns can say, oh, well, ours is 0.2, like 2 pubs across the road from each other. Ours is 0.2 better than yours, So that's why I think the decimals. Yeah, I think that's why the decimals work. You could obviously just do like 7.5, whatever, but I just like the way we do it.
So what's the rating process for a pint then? So do you how do you
obviously
because
smoothness. I'll tell you, Kev.
I want the Guinness guru to tell me, mate.
Sorry, no, he's professional.
So yeah, like it's not as complicated as you would think. I just like, for me, it has to be creamy. That's the most important thing. Like, as in a can, what we're drinking now is not creamy. It's nowhere near creamy. And when you go into a good pub here, like, there'd be a nice big head on it. And they're not like fucking that, but a nice big head on it. And it'll have that dome. It'll have that dome coming over the top. Like that. It won't just be straight across. It'll be like that. You take a sip, and it's real, like, I suppose, like velvet. And then nice thick head. A good pint, the head stays the same the whole way down, and when you finish the glass, the head is still whatever, half an inch. Right. A shy pint, it just diminishes and goes to shit. A good pint, the head stays white. Bad one, it goes yellow, which is 90% of pints. And when you have the creamy head, you get that stick along the side. Like I've seen pictures of literally every inch, like that down. Every inch is just covered, and that's just fucking glorious. Then obviously taste, but it's not just as simple as saying it has to taste good, because Guinness is a mad old tasting drink. It's not. It's funky, like, and for me, once it's not too bitter, then I'm pretty happy, to be honest with you. Like, it doesn't. I don't have to go, that's incredibly tasty, because it's not that type of drink. It's kind of like coffee, or whatever. It's a bitter drink, but once it's not overpoweringly bitter and it doesn't leave a bad aftertaste, and it's smooth, as Kenny says, the pro, then I'm happy out, to be honest with you. And also, it does come into it like experience. That's why I get that place I'm talking about, the Gravediggers. We went there. It was the most highly recommended pub. Went there on a real, like, kind of spooky Halloweeny type of night. We had the pint outside. It's beside a graveyard. Met the guy there. He was talking to us. Pub's 108 years old. That all factors in. And that's why it was the highest score. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to it. Creamy, not too bitter, and good. Once it sticks inside the glass, the glass is clean.
What was the score you gave the Gravediggers in? What was the highest score?
9.4.
I think 9.4 or 9.3 or something.
9.4.
Well done, Kenny. Well researched.
No, mate, it's using my ears. No, it's my ears. I was listening when you spoke about it at the start. Do you think you'll never get a 10, eh? There'll never be a 10.
No.
No.
I don't think I'll probably ever beat the Gravediggers, to be honest.
I'm assuming you're working tomorrow, eh?
Tomorrow, yeah. Why?
Right. We just don't want to keep you too long, man. I'm assuming you're a busy boy.
We've got one more question, Kenny.
Whatever,
I've got two more questions. Because I want to ask you about who came up with the idea for mixing Guinness with Blue Wicked, Smirnoff Ice, Iron Brew, Lucozade.
I don't know. Did I say, my memory's so bad? Did I say to you boys earlier that the guy on Instagram sent me the Wicked? Yeah. You're obviously not listening, Kenny.
Sorry, that's true. Sorry, my earphone had fell out at that point.
You were gone off for a shite or something.
It's just that I'm pissed for that, man. That was
Guinness shite, the worst type.
Wow, man. Full of iron.
That could be a whole. That could be a whole podcast itself.
That could be, man.
No, this guy, he doesn't have his. He just puts memes and stuff like on Instagram. He's got like 8,000 followers on his profile. Point Man Appreciation is his name, and he sent me a picture saying, "Lad, you should try this. Like it could be popular for one of your lockdown videos." I tried it, and it went crazy on Instagram. Got like 500 shares or something like that, and then like comments, shares, and I wasn't used to getting that much traction at all on Instagram. And the funny thing is, put it on YouTube, and it got like nowhere near the same.
It's different. It's so different, man.
And that started it. And then then maybe 2 weeks later I did what was it, Smirnoff Ice. Then like
what do you think of the Smirnoff Ice? Was it pretty similar?
Yeah, it was
sugary.
It was nice, yeah. Similar enough. Then I did the Iron Brew a few weeks later. And then there was nothing really about it. The Iron Brew, I honestly was possibly my favourite.
Really? Aye.
No
That was my next question.
I'm not messing. And there's actually, it was funny, this random Scottish, I can't even remember the name of it, like online newspaper or someone got in touch with me and they posted a video and they were like, can we get an interview? And they like, I'm doing a couple of podcasts now, but I hadn't done anything like that. And I was like, my first interview was with some random Scottish newspaper just because I did Iron Brew and she was asking all these questions just about fucking Iron Brew. But like in terms of the whole TikTok thing, then it's kind of like I've been like I watch a lot of these guys online who like motivational shit and blah blah blah. But like guys who kind of are always ahead of the trend and will say you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And this one guy, don't know if you know him, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V.
Oh, Gary V,
Gary
man.
V,
yeah, big motivation guy.
He was on about, he was talking about TikTok before it was TikTok.
Yeah, he was on about TikTok since about 2 years ago. Once it changed from Musical.ly to TikTok, he said, you've got to get on TikTok. And he said it for Facebook, he said it for YouTube, he said it for everything. And I was like, well, okay, yeah. And I said, right, I do need to get on TikTok. But I was just so stubborn. I said, but like everyone on TikTok is really young. My content doesn't suit TikTok. Like, what am I going to post on it? And that's always everyone's problem when they say like, what will I put on TikTok? I don't dance. I don't do that, which is fair. And then I just thought, well, why don't I just literally take my Blue Wicked, Smirnoff Ice, and Iron Brew videos, condense them into the TikTok format, 20 seconds long, and just post them. And I posted them all in one day, and they all got like 30, 40K views overnight. And I got about 1,000 followers. And I thought, holy shit. And then I just started making like exclusive to TikTok videos that I wasn't even putting on Instagram because I didn't want my Instagram followers to just be like, what the fuck's this guy doing with all the big strings? And my TikTok audience didn't know anything else, any better or whatever. So I just started saying, fuck it. And I would just, anyone commented anything to mix it with, I just do it. And 140,000 followers later, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I was speaking to my mate. I was like, literally, my brother-in-law, pretty much. I was like, yeah, the Guinness Guru. He's like, what? And I said, the Guinness Guru. He's like, for TikTok? And he's like, aye. He's like, what are you talking about him for, mate? He's coming to the podcast. Said, no way. And I was like, aye, I swear, mate. He's like, how'd you manage that?
Well, it's funny.
The accolades that I got for the past 20 minutes after I told him that was...
You're welcome, pal. You're welcome.
I know, I felt like I was walking on air.
especially being the brother-in-law. But it is funny, like, as in, a month ago, I was on TikTok, but I had 1,000 followers, whatever, and then it's slowed down now, which is fair enough because I think TikTok, once you're consistent with like good content, they'll kind of give you 2-3 weeks of ridiculous expansion, and then they'll be like, all right, mate, you've had your fun now.
Algorithm.
So
yeah.
So but it's still growing.
I've been shadow banned. You've been saying that.
I'm going on a big rant. I don't pay attention to any other shit, man. Shadow banned. But yeah, like it went basically from like 1 week, I think it was 4,000 to 35,000. Then the next week was about 70. Then the next week was 120. And then it's slowed down a good bit, but it's still like 20,000 a week, which if you said that for Instagram, you'd be like, what? So I'm still like, can't believe it.
Still going, man. You've still got them a bit. At what point are you thinking, fuck this, man, do this full time? Like when you're just going...
I'm not like... I said to myself, and you can like pin this as a little clip and use this in a couple of years. I said to myself, maybe a year ago, or even 6 months ago, I said, I'm painting now. It's not the worst job in the world. I don't despise it. It's fine. I'm 27. I'll be 28 and say I'm talking like kids. I'm 27 and a half. if by the age of 30, I was doing whatever I want to do full time, working for myself, I'd shake your hand now and I'd say I'll take it. Do you know? So if it happens before that, it's a bonus, but I have that so ingrained in my head that that's why I'm not like, oh, just take that 100 quid or take that 200 quid, because I've painted for 3 or 4 years. I don't mind doing it for another 2-3 years if I'll get to do this full time the way I want to do it on my own terms. So people are like, oh, do you get paid from TikTok? Do you get paid from TikTok? And there is this thing, the TikTok Creator Fund, but it's not available. It's not available in Ireland.
Is it not?
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
So in the UK,
I'd say it'll be
10,000 followers plus. Man, you've got 10 times plus that, man.
Yeah, but like, I think that'll probably be available here soon enough anyway. But even
Tricolour's holding you down, man.
Yeah.
Drive north, man.
wish I was fucking Scottish.
Yeah, I've got a fucking spare room comes to me.
Fair. But to answer your question, I don't know, but it's a long way away.
Keep rolling with the punches, man.
Yeah, it's a long way away, but I'm very confident it will happen.
Right.
Right, well, wait, Gav, on you go, man. You go talk.
I just
I've not let you talk.
I know, fucking hell. So excited about Guinness, huh?
Not so much Guinness, just the guy.
So, Dara, we've got one question that we ask all our guests.
Oh,
right at the end of the podcast, right? So, if you could have one drink and one drink only, what would you have, and who would it be with?
Well, I think the drink part of it is pretty obvious.
See, if it was
Jagerbomb.
Pretty cool, man.
Dead or alive, or what are we saying?
Whatever you want, mate. Dead or alive.
Anything you want, man. Just fill your boots.
Oh, wow. Dead or alive, probably. Do you guys know Luke Kelly? Do you know the Dubliners?
I know Dubliners, aye.
I don't know.
Luke Kelly was the main singer of the Dubliners. They are like absolute like Irish folklore, whatever you want to call it. They're all pretty much dead now. But like 70s, 80s, their songs, like you go to any Irish session or whatever, they're going to be played. And Luke Kelly is basically the voice of the Dubliners. Right. And you'd probably know his voice even if you didn't know who he was. He's dead about 40 years now. Well, he'd be, and they're just renowned for loving Guinness as well, so that'd be a pretty solid matchup. Wow. I'm trying to think of then someone maybe more.
What they would think about Guinness now. Would you think they think about Guinness now? Do you think they would say it's got better, or do you be like,
well, yeah, the thing is, Guinness totally changed in like the 80s, so he probably never even had a pint of the Guinness that you'd have now in a pub. But I think it changed for the better, to be fair. I'm trying to think of someone Scottish. Actually, fucking hell.
I don't think about it. No.
Hold on.
Go for it.
Nah, like I know it's obviously the easiest answer to say now, but like Lewis Capaldi looks like he'd be some laugh. He'd be
Wallace or something, man. I've not heard anything for Lewis in quite some time. Last time I saw him, he was live on TikTok.
I don't even really care about his music. It's just he just seems so funny.
The crack. You just see the crack.
Yeah, the crack. You'd sit there and swamp a few pints of Guinness with him. Me, Lewis Capaldi, and Luke Kelly, and you two boys. Good session that.
Some man.
Yeah. The smooth talker. He's smoother than a pint of Guinness, this guy.
Yes, mate.
Back and forth now.
That's it.
Right, Kenny, send us out.
Cheese little trips, bye. No, man. Dara, thank you so much for your time, man. I absolutely loved it, man.
Brilliant,
thank you, lads. It's been a pleasure.
Unbelievable, man. Oh, no. Pleasure was.
Just last of all, Dara, where can everybody...
Can you ask them more stuff, man?
No, just where can everybody find you? Obviously, we know you're the Guinness Guru.
Where
can we find you?
Yeah, just the Guinness Guru on pretty much everything. YouTube, TikTok now, obviously, and Instagram mainly. I have Twitter and Facebook, but don't really use it. So it's YouTube, Twitter. What am I saying? YouTube. I'm drunk after me 1 pint. YouTube.
Get it out.
This is the worst plug ever.
TikTok.
The Guinness Guru into the internet, the World Wide Web, and if you see this face, click on it and press like.
Smashing.
We'll do our best to edit it and just have like at one point just the Guru badge, like just because you fucking minced that, didn't you, man?
Yeah, right. No retakes in my world.
That's it, mate.
That's it.
That's the best way to go. But Dara, absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks very much for coming on, and hopefully
Anytime,
we'll be back on
genuinely enjoyed that, lads. I didn't know.
What's the chat? Are you coming over to Scotland to try Guinness at some point? You come over here?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, if you do, give us a message. Aye.
I'll be coming out of Scotland, probably not to try the Guinness.
Anytime you're here, man, let us know.
Absolutely. But I was just going to say, I didn't know. You never know with these things. Like, is it going to be good crack or boring? But this was generally good crack. So, and I wish you boys all the best. It's a fucking. It's, as we all know, it's a struggle trying to fucking.
It's a hard game.
Working and all. It's a hard game, but you boys are good crack. So just keep at it, and eventually,
appreciate it, man.
Stuff will click. So, cheers, boys, and sláinte.
Sláinte. Oh, wait, I've got an empty glass for you, man.
All the best, lads.
Got a wee tiny one. I've still got a wee bit of a head left as well. There you go.
Yeah, that looks a good one, lads. What do I leave this now or what?
Just whatever suits you, man. You can stay here. We'll just sit and talk shite for 10 minutes. So
I'll have to ring the fucking missus, you know yourself.
Right, boys. Catch you later. It was lovely to speak to you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Hang on. Sound, lads. Good luck.